Alright, Scott, check and see if we're going.
You dropped something.
No, I didn't.
Double the beating, double the trouble, just now.
Yeah. That's past broadcast, you gotta scroll up.
This is...
Yeah, it's... Okay, so the way it works is that that's how long we've been streaming for the time. So if you miss the start of it, then that's where you watch it. Alright, Scott, we update the page.
Give me a second, it's kind of slow. Just give it a second!
Where's my fucking phone?
Oh my god, impatient, impatient, impatient.
Yeah, I know.
There we go.
Alright. So...
Trying to find out who is the meat in this murder sandwich.
So we need to know. So we just...
I think we checked the other scene of the crime.
I thought we were about to start the trial.
No, it hasn't given us that option yet. We have to keep searching.
Sume and Taka.
Yeah, because we spent all our time looking for her. And now
Yeah.
we gotta clue her in.
No, you missed it. We are at the trial, guys. We just had this one more thing to do.
Kyoko seemed to go rigid. That's right, you have to take her up here.
What?
But only for a moment.
So then...
Yeah,
Let's get started.
Crash right next to Taka without hesitation began poking and prodding the bodies.
I like doing that to the bodies.
I knew it.
Poke.
Motokuma's spy was right. They were killed using similar weapons.
Her movements were so smooth. She was so calm. Seeing how comfortable she was actually made me feel a little more comfortable. Well, 3 women in the same room as me. Alright. I have her noticed Fufumi's massive corpse. The nurse officer who discovered here the repository. All the way from the first floor to the third, and all without anyone noticing.
Gotta use that frickin' 1-minute time machine.
Can't see how that's possible. Fufumi died from a blow to the head. Why is he sweating?
Because he was still kind of alive when we
I'm
found him.
guessing he moved himself.
But when we found his body and nose stuff, his glasses were covered in blood. Yeah, that's my guess as to why they were clean. One voice his glasses clean, but who would do that and why?
Yeah. We pretty much found it. Yeah. I need to talk to Kyoko
So then.
again.
I think so.
I see.
Kodo, I found something.
You did?
Hey,
You remember the wristwatch Taka always wore on his left hand? Not really.
You did?
You were so oblivious to the people around you. You dislike other people that much.
No, that's not it. Fuck!
I mean, all the people we like keep dying. Look at this fucking list.
And Junko. And Hifumi.
I mean, I feel like we could have liked Junko.
Probably. But what about Hifumi?
Anyway, you said you had a,
So then.
watch. It's broken. You can see them hands are moving, right? It's most likely broke when he had this encounter with his assailant. Yep, because that's how wristwatches work. You notice the hands are frozen at just past 6.
The watch was broken sometime just after 6.
So Taka's been dead all morning.
that's right.
But last night, Taka's watch definitely wasn't broken.
He was...
Hey, you! How long were you gonna keep us waiting?
Taka's irritated voice pierced the air as he started pointing
Ah.
at his wristwatch.
Aha! It's almost 10 o'clock, you know that, right? It's bedtime for all the little boys and girls.
In other words,
So if it worked at 10 last night, it couldn't have been broken at 6 p.m. Meaning it must have happened at 6 this morning. Nice!
However,
That's not all. Look at Taka's left hand. He appears to be gripping something.
That's right, there's something white in there.
Makoto,
Can you try and pry it out?
Ew. Me?
because
Rigor mortis has already set in. Boys are better suited for this kind of manual labor, right? Just
Oh,
just break his fucking fingers. You're okay with doing that to the corpses, right? Right, Nagi?
Okay.
Big
But
Mac?
I grasped Taka's cold hand. The ice cold hand was nearly enough to cause my heart to stop beating.
Ugh.
After some effort, I was finally free the object from his tightly clenched fist. A piece of paper?
It's a fucking paper airplane!
hey,
Was that all he had in his hand?
Yeah, that's it. A little scrap of paper doesn't seem like much of a clue, does it?
is that right?
I wonder...
Kyoko then turned to Hifumi's body.
So then,
Let's check his body now. Perhaps he's left us a few clothes of his own. Like the scrap of paper that I totally just found. Oh.
He has a puncture, I'm guessing.
So, did
Indeed.
you find anything? I did, more than expected. Well, a lot more. A lot more than expected. Look at this.
A lot of paper?
that's right.
Fume had it hit it on him.
Hidden.
Indeed.
He stuffed it in his pants. Oh, so that's why it looked like he had a big bulge. Because it was paper. Not because he was... Anyway.
His pants. Wait, so you?
Why is that?
It was just his pants, not like socks or something. Weirdo.
No, I don't know what
I
that
did-
means.
I love this response. I don't know what that means.
Hey,
Anyway, let's take a look at the paper. Go ahead, Makoto. Open it up.
When I think of how it was stuffed down his pants, it's like...
I mean, that's honestly the best place to hide something. Unless you do a cavity search on somebody, like, they're not gonna fucking notice if you have, like, a bigger bulge on in your
Better be
underwear.
important, Fumi, I'll never forgive you for this. Who cares, you're dead. I know.
Ah. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet his equipment. That's the note that, Yasuhiro found.
so
That sounds very familiar. Same thing Hiro said.
Then he was telling the truth.
however,
Not exactly the same, is it?
Must have something slick. Weird note under my door. And here's what it said. We found a hole maybe we used to escape. Only good can't find us don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet at the rec room at 1 a.m.
Okay.
Time is different. Here told us the note said to me at 1 a.m. But no, here's
6 a.m.
it's 6. Hifumi didn't
Okay,
understand
so
time.
it's a different note, which means that... Why? It's 6 a.m. for Hifume.
is that right?
Just because Hifume had the note doesn't mean it was meant for him.
Huh?
So,
Part of it has been torn off, right? I think there's likely some meaning there.
So
Oh,
maybe
it's
part of the
probably
deal.
part of Taka's note.
It's probably supposed to be Taka's. Can you explain a little more?
Think carefully. Where else have we seen a fucking piece of paper today?
hey,
Why would he have been clutching that scrap of paper so tightly?
I have no idea.
I am very clueless, and I rely on you to solve all my problems.
so then,
So if
He
it was-
thinks you're very pretty.
You're very pretty. What if it wasn't just a scrap of paper when he was holding it? What if it was something more important? And how would something important like that become a mere scrap of paper? How does paper turn into paper? That's what you need to
Paper
answer.
turned into smaller paper.
The note that Hifume had.
hey,
While we're at it, I should tell you one other thing. The 2 victims this time definitely had their handbooks on them. So the handbooks have nothing to do with how the murders were carried out. Not that there was any reason to think they were connected to the killings in the first place.
So you're saying is I don't have to think about the handbooks this time.
Yep.
is that right?
Clear that from your mind. If you didn't have to think about them at all, I wouldn't have gone out of my way to mention it. All I said is they weren't used to help carry out the murders. They're making a point, however, when a handbook may play a role.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
I don't think I understand.
I think this
But
is supposed.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is supposed to be the murder that like stumps people for so long that they had to give you a hint.
I don't think that's the case. I think that that's just a very subtle nod to something later? Because obviously the handbooks haven't even come up to this point. What was I gonna say? I don't fucking remember anymore. Interesting. So it is
Bing bong.
Alright, yeah, I knew it. I didn't get any more presents, but we'll have time later, I guess.
Yeah.
Are you excited? Are you pumped? It's time for the class trial to begin! Like the bright burst of fireworks, like the flash of a soul clashing with life and death.
Okay.
And so, with no further ado, everyone please meet at the usual spot. Make your way to the red door on the first floor of the school. See you soon.
Thank you.
It would seem...
It's unfortunate, but I suppose this is where our investigation comes to an end. You'll have to figure out the rest for yourself and come to the proper conclusion.
Yeah, you're right.
Shall we go?
Well, we better get going.
Okay.
Okay.
It's almost as if you're a computer simulation talking to a player.
Alright. I'm gonna try and go for no damage this time, because I feel like I know what I'm doing now.
Alright.
But I'm not gonna reset if I do get damaged. I think that's the only trial-related trophy that I haven't gotten yet. I mean, we can try and go for the 20 and 30 SP threshold, but we're still probably a little ways away from that.
Yeah, take it without taking any damage.
Without having to retry a single time. I'm mad that we are 3 trials in and I haven't done that yet. So that one's gonna be fucking hard. But I think those are the only ones.
Everyone had heard Monokuma's proclamation, and they were gathered by the red door. As soon as we were all there.
Monokuma appears!
Hello! Hello, hello!
So there's 2 of you.
He's multiplied.
I mean, that was always the implication that there were multiple.
Fornicated. Nope, not multiplication. I just like this because of an illusion.
It's because you had 2 bodies.
Moving so fast on it looks like I've multiplied.
Oh god, I see his after image.
You guys tell which one is the real Monokuma?
He just points to a random them. And they're like, wow, I can't believe you figured it out. Wait, what? Can we just get on the elevator already?
Boy, tough
You're not
crowd.
playing along. Along.
Stop talking.
We're not here to play with you.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Okay,
Hey,
that was
hey!
useless.
Everyone's here ready to go. Please board the pain train or elevator.
Oof.
I'll see you guys down there.
Let's go.
Shall we?
Please!
Oh, I'm not mentally prepared yet.
What the heck?
You'll never be mentally prepared. You can't run away anymore, hero. You're gonna pay for your sins.
What the heck?
I already told you I didn't do it for serious.
That reminds me, did you ever find the other costume? Or the note? It was in your fucking room, we saw it! How unfortunate. Then it would seem we have our culprit.
Hey,
This isn't the place to talk about it. Save your accusations for when we get to the courtroom.
That's right.
She's right. It's good. Let's get down there first, then the story can really begin. Yeah, good idea. Shut the fuck up. That's right. I have to
Do it.
I can't let whoever killed Fumi talk and get away with it. Well, I mean, Fumi, yeah.
For everyone that's still alive.
and for the 2 that lost their lives. When we killed Fumi Target, the one who killed 2 of our friends. The killer is
One of these.
someone
fuckers.
right here.
Got 7 to choose from. What's up? It would appear the culprit has been confirmed. This trial will be over in no time. It wasn't me, you gotta believe me.
Yes.
Come on, Big Mac, let's do it.
hey,
Story begins when we get down there.
Damn.
I don't like Monokuma's carefree attitude.
just the worst.
Let's hurry up and go so we can make Hero pay for his crimes.
Gosh, she's just so dead set. Jesus. What are you listening until we get to the courtroom and begin your argument?
Mom, can we kill this boy? Oof, I guess not.
You'll get a shitload more during the trial.
Yeah, I probably will. Thanks, Celeste.
After the trial, I began to walk towards the elevator. Once everyone was aboard, the doors closed on their own. Steel box began to move.
Man, it's really roomy in here this time, guys.
Clicking of the elevator kept us company as we fell further and further down. There's no going back. Until we saw this, we couldn't go anywhere. How long it was before the elevator finally came to a stop. The elevator door slid open, opening up into a cruel fate. Well, I see you're all gathered together like this. I can realize how few of you are left. School life is slowly reaching its climax.
Just the worst.
Only because of you.
Why are you making us do such cool things to each other?
What?
What? You really hate me so much, but I'm so cute.
Come on.
Stop goofing around and begin the trial. Don't rush me. Of course I'm gonna get started. I would never be like staying tuned for the action-packed class trial after this commercial break.
Speaking of which, we're going to take a quick commercial break after a word from our sponsors. Today's episode of Side by Side Plays is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends.
Yes, I never hold on to you like that. Okay, let's begin. Get your assigned seats. Until the curtain opened once again onto how amazing Raid Shadow Legends was. A deadly real... Oh, God.
Yeah, he just repeats it every time.
A deadly class trial.
Do you want to save? Fuck no!
Who needs saving? Saving is for...
Alright.
Fuck.
Set the skills.
Savings for squares. You still only have 2.
Did I not get a third one?
You got the passive skill from Celeste.
I
That's
thought
about
that
it.
was before the last murder.
No. It was...
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god, that's right. So we have increased damage to opponent when a statement is destroyed. I'm pretty sure everybody gets that. And then there's the bullet capacity. Alright then. Alright. Oh,
Let's
man.
begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results. If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong one,
Yeah, he changed it. I already pointed that out, Pilot.
then I'll punish everyone besides the blackened and the one that deceived everyone
Okay. It's possible we're not even on the same floor.
Yeah.
else will graduate.
Okay.
It's also possible that this is a video game and they just wanted to make things fun.
Okay,
Now
thank you. I get
then.
it.
Yeah,
To
shut the fuck up.
begin with,
Fine.
We already know who did it.
was that?
Eh?
It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit. Don't try and deny it. You killed them.
I didn't! Someone knocked me out! I was asleep the whole time! I don't know anything about it!
Shut your murdering mouth, murderer!
Who are you calling a murderer?
I am sorry to say, Hiro, but we do have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it, and all of it was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to you as having created the suit and wearing it while committing crime after crime.
How many times do I have to tell you? I don't know! I don't know!
Is Hiro really killer or anything else? We have to make that clear.
That's the hero of the nest.
Everything.
It's by yeah, it's
Oh,
the
the meeting
handwriting.
in the dining hall.
The handwriting is remarkably neat and clear
We found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true! It's a conspiracy!
Hiro, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
I think it's
Everything we found in your room. The blueprints, the suit parts, they are all proof enough that you are the culprit.
I don't know anything about that stuff! It's not true, it's a conspiracy!
I think it's
Hero, why? Why did you kill them?
No! Just hold on a second!
the touchpad for the...
Oh, it's circle to speed it up.
Everything we found in your room, the blueprints, the suit parts, they are all...
No, that's wrong.
Shut the fuck up, I have something to say!
Shut the fuck up.
Are we
What
sure
the fuck
Hero
is up,
really
Kyle?
made those
What the
blueprints?
fuck did you say? The fuck did you say?
What do you mean?
Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hero wrote, asking everyone to meet up after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say?
I'm sorry, did I miss something?
When you compare it to the blueprints.
There's no way you could think the same person made both of them.
Unless that person made it a point to disguise their handwriting.
No, the differences are bigger than that, I think.
Come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway.
Fuck.
Everyone's like, yeah, he's not smart enough to think of that.
Oh my god, he didn't do it.
So Makoto,
Oh my god.
are you saying you don't think Hero's the culprit?
And he's not the only one. I think Hero's innocent
Yeah,
as
Baki.
well.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, Baki. Byakuya.
Then who was in that Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hero said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit?
The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was.
I don't fucking know.
Of course, you have to pass it off to me,
So?
fucking dick.
Who was in the Robo-Justice suit?
It's gonna ask me to choose.
Question the one that...
The Illuminati.
You know?
No, it was Hero.
The...
If he was still passed out,
I got
then
it!
that means... Oh my god, that
Other
would
than
mean
Hero,
that,
I
his
can't
roommate
think of
was in
anyone
on
else
it.
it could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit. And we never found any kind of second suit.
Then there can be no doubt. Hero is the prime suspect.
So what the fuck
Okay,
do you
then
think
hold on.
That doesn't make any sense. You just said Hero didn't do it.
It makes perfect sense. Hero was the suspicious individual in the suit,
Oh,
but he's not the culprit.
maybe?
So what you're saying is...
That's right. The culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit.
Ah.
What? Now that's a bold assumption. And what reason do you have to make such a statement? You do have a reason, yes?
Of course. But before we get to that, there's something else we need to clarify first. So let's get that out of the way.
Hey, stop trying to boss us around.
No, shut the fuck up for a second, Hina.
All things have a proper order.
So what is it? What needs to be clarified?
We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using certain particular items. Makoto, can you tell us what they were?
Oh, thanks.
Fucking stop throwing it at me, you asshole!
So we got the tarp.
I got it!
I got it! And there's one more thing. The dolly. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Dolly.
Celeste.
I got it! They were a dolly and a tarp, right?
You fucking moron.
What's with the attitude?
So, let's see if I can explain.
Wow.
We're doing... Oh.
Taka's
Wait, all
body disappeared
Byakuya's
from the
were-
equipment room. And then we rediscovered it in the repository. And when we found it for the second time, it was wrapped in a blue tarp, right?
Did you do that again, Byakuya? Did you
It
fuck
was the
with
same
mercy?
tarp that up until then was stored in the equipment room.
No, he seems
So
surprised.
the killer must have seen it there and decided to use it when they moved Taka's body. That way, they wouldn't leave any bloodstains while they were moving it.
Okay, that explains the tarp. And the dolly?
Same thing. I'm sure the dolly was in the equipment room when we first found Taka's body there. But when the body disappeared, so did the dolly. Later, when Taka's body reappeared in the repository, so did the dolly.
In other words, you think they used the dolly to move the body, am I right? But are you sure you are not mistaken?
Huh?
Are you absolutely positive the dolly was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body? That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the art room. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had made its way to the equipment room. Is it not possible that it was in the repository all along, and you simply didn't realize it?
She's raised an objection. How do you respond?
Objection!
There is no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you anyway.
Well, fuck you.
Celeste, for being my prime suspect, you got a lot of sass coming from your mouth right now.
We have all accepted
That's
the
my
fact that
prime
you rarely
suspect at
understand
the
what
moment.
is going on around you.
I was thinking about this a lot between last stream and now. I was like, wait a second, there's a lot of unaccounted time for Celeste.
And
And
she's
the fact that
really
we
pushing it.
Yeah, and the fact that we now know that the murderer and the robot were a separate person, that extra, like, feeds into her having, like, a lot of time that's unaccounted for now. And she seems to be the one primarily trying to shift the blame on the hero, if I'm being fucking honest.
You know, it sounds so not to be so mean, but maybe I can change my mind. The blood on the wheels.
Yeah, of course. New element. Why?
Reloading.
Gonna add one more ingredient to the recipe.
Underneath the tempo marker, you'll see your ammo count.
Just locking on and pressing the triangle button won't be enough to handle him. One bullet just destroy a single remark. Okay. Reload. Ow, please don't.
The press square and in time with the tempo marker.
Wait, hold on. Oh! Fuck.
So you have to press both of them at the same time?
Okay. Here we go.
You have it wrong! I cannot agree! You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst. Away with you! You miserable wretch! I cannot agree. You are a fool. Lies will get you nowhere. Do your worst, you miserable wretch! You have it wrong! I cannot agree. You are a fool. So pathetic. Lies will get you nowhere.
Nice.
Final strike.
I cannot agree.
This should prove it.
Thank God you did this out of the
I think
way.
I did that perfectly.
You did. Good job, man.
If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here.
It's right here! Pull that out.
When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels
So
had a
Celeste, I
blood
have
stain
one
on
question
it.
to ask. Before you die, can we fuck?
Let me smash.
There was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark in it that matched the dolly wheel's tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room, and as the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's my proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body.
Celeste really hate me that much?
Well, anyway,
with her so
that was
much.
just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject.
Yeah, the subject of how Robo-Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it?
I'm not sure that really matters.
I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer.
But I'm gonna make Makoto do it.
If you look back on how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious.
It'd be hard
he
to
can't pick it up.
It'd be hard to not get bloodstains on the robot suit.
And he can't bend at the waist.
This fucking woman is walking her dog outside, and the dog squatted for a shit, and she pulled the dog, and it made it keep walking.
Fuck her.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's continue.
Yeah. Alright. It would be clear why the person's suit couldn't have done this. What does he mean by that?
But not be able to see their feet or bend at the waist more than 90 degrees. That's probably it. They can't bend at the waist.
As we know, Taka was killed in the equipment room. And from there, the body was moved to the repository, correct?
Yeah, the culprit wrapped the body in the tarp, then loaded it onto the dolly and wheeled it off, right?
Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle.
Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over.
There you go.
Then you could push the dolly no problem. So the killer just crouched down and carted the body off to the repository.
If you accept everything we just said, then you must realize that whoever was in the suit couldn't possibly be the culprit.
Sorry, I don't think I realized anything.
We know.
As we know, and from there...
Yeah, then loaded it onto the dolly and...
Now, keep in mind that the
Well, yeah, but all you'd have to do is bend over. Then you could push the dolly no problem. So the killer carted the body...
If you accept, then you must realize that who...
Sorry, I don't think I...
As we know, and from there...
Yeah, then loaded it onto the dolly.
Now, keep in mind that the dolly...
Well, yeah, but even with that, all you'd have to do is bend over.
Oof. No, that's wrong!
Aloy, shut the fuck up!
I swear that in the PSP version, these timelets probably were
You're absolutely right that you could push a dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into a position like that?
I'd get into a position with you.
What do you mean?
Think back to what you said when we were all checking out the suit together. Remember?
I'm blind as bad in here. I can't see my feet at all. I'm surprised you got it anywhere in this thing.
Tell you, it wasn't me!
Not to mention, you totally can't bend at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
When you're in that suit, not only can you not see your feet, but you can't even bend at the waist. Am I right about that?
Now that you mention it, yeah.
It seems like it'd be awfully hard to push that dolly if you couldn't bend over.
Well, what's to stop you from simply pushing the dolly with your feet?
When you can't even see your feet? You really think someone could kick the dolly all that way?
Yeah, it'd be totally impossible! Not that I can say for sure myself.
On top of that, if you were wearing such a rigid, cumbersome suit, it's very unlikely you would have the dexterity to go about wrapping the body in a tarp.
Well, I mean, isn't that just a matter of taking off the suit when you're ready to move the body?
Monster was taking off this because it was like...
You can't take it off by yourself.
Yeah.
I got it! I don't think taking off the suit was an option. If you remember...
Oh, what's up with this thing? We can't... Yeah, can't you get it off?
Why would you make something you can't take off by yourself?
I didn't make this stupid freaking thing!
There's a clasp on the back that's keeping you from getting it off. It looks pretty sturdy. I don't think you can get it off on your own. You don't really have a choice. Let's help them.
That's true. It seems impossible to put the suit on or take it off without help.
Then, you really can't take it off by yourself? Hiro wasn't just making it up?
Not only that, he can't put it on himself.
Of course I wasn't making it up.
If he could have gotten it off by himself, I don't think he would have let us see him wearing it. Showing up in the suit was basically an invitation for everyone to suspect it.
So...
Yeah, that's right!
So...
It's really, really true that Robo Justice couldn't have moved the dolly?
To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hiro in the robot suit, correct?
No, wait. Just a second, if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took?
Yeah, about that.
You all got a good look at it, did you not? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo Justice? If whoever was in that suit is not the culprit, how do you explain that? Besides, do you remember what the now deceased Hifumi said?
What'd you get hurt? The guy hit me. What guy? Robo Justice. That's why I decided to call him just now.
So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hiro, without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Hold on a second!
It's still far too early to reach that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing on one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle.
Perhaps, but where do we go from here?
Let's review this series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll uncover something new.
What a pain in the ass!
I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it.
Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down.
All right then, let's take another look back at what happened. I suppose we could start with this morning. 4 of us gathered together in the dining hall. Makoto, Hina, Kyoko, and myself. We waited there for quite a while, but nobody else showed up, so we went to look for everyone. That was around 8 a.m.
And as soon as we split up, Kyoko went missing.
Soon after that, Hina found Celeste in the rec room and quickly came to get Makoto and me.
It seems I was unconscious for about an hour after I was attacked by my mystery assailant. I know it was an hour because I remember being attacked a little after 7.
That was when we saw Celeste's picture and discovered that her assailant had been wearing a strange costume. As it turns out, it was Robo Justice. It also soon became clear that this same Robo Justice had abducted Hifumi. We were soon joined in our search by Byakuya and Toko, and then went on to find Hifumi in the library. He was injured, so we took him to the nurse's office and resumed our search for the suspect.
Leaving him totally unguarded.
But not long after leaving the nurse's office...
What's wrong?
I saw a shadow, something moving around on the top of the stairs.
When Celeste told us that, we decided to split up and search the second floor. And soon after that...
I saw someone moving around on the 3rd floor. And I yelled out to everyone as soon as I did.
Celeste, what's wrong? It's an intense scream for someone like you.
I saw him, a strange costume man. Ran off as soon as I screamed. He was blocking the stairs, so he headed further down into the hallway and disappeared.
And then...
Yeah. Huh? What was that?
Came from downstairs, it must have been.
Before he's in the nurse's office.
Come on, I have to go back.
At that point, we decided to divide up into 2 groups. Celeste, Hina, and I went back to the nurse's office, while Sakura, Byakuya, and Toko chased after the suspect. When we got back to the nurse's office, we found Hifumi, dead. And that's when we heard the body discovery announcement. I left Celeste and Hina there and headed back to the 3rd floor to let the others know what had happened.
Meanwhile, we had just discovered Taka's body in the equipment room. We must have found both bodies at almost exactly the same time.
It's not right.
Because we heard the same announcement not long after we discovered his body.
And that's when I told you guys about Hifumi. Then the 3 of us headed for the nurse's office. But right after we left the physics lab, we ran into Celeste, who'd arrived after us. And she told us something very surprising. We rushed back to the nurse's office and saw that she was right.
Then we remembered we'd left Toko passed out in the equipment room, so we hurried back again.
This can't be happening.
We're hallucinating all this or something?
But when we got there, we discovered that now Taka's body had also gone missing. Next thing we knew, we were searching the school for 2 missing dead bodies. And after some time...
Celeste informed us that she'd found the bodies, and we all headed to the repository.
Yeah, Celeste is super suspicious right now.
Which is where we rediscovered the corpses.
I think that about covers it.
I see. The whole thing sounds exceptionally complicated. It certainly seems to me that these are not a simple series of connected events.
Okay, well, if that's true, then what?
Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka.
Akuma file number 3.
So
let's look at the file. Well, the head stuff, they were both killed with a similar weapon. Is that it?
regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after?
We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from a swing of Justice Hammer 4.
See? So it's obvious Taka came after.
Okay, wait. I only saw one of those. That were orange.
So, regarding Taka's death,
I wonder if he, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammer.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came...
See?
Okay,
so it's obvious Taka came after.
So, regarding Taka,
I wonder if, or perhaps it was. We already know what order they were killed in.
So is it what order or is it the number?
I think it's
because
the
it
number.
says they were killed with a similar weapon.
I think it's numbering.
Well, look at the other evidence.
Well, this is the one we have to use. We have to use this.
Okay, can you scroll down?
Nope.
I think it's that. Remember that other option you could do where you could change the bullet?
Yeah, I already tried. I pressed the button, nothing happened. Oh. Remember, it would have showed us if we had other bullets at the beginning anyway, so... what is this one?
No. I'm not saying like switch to a second bullet. I'm saying altering the bullet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka's death came from...
See? So it's obvious Taka came... So, I wonder if, or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was
killed with... while Taka's death...
See? So it's obvious Taka came... So, I wonder if, or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the Justice Hammers.
It's true that Hifumi
was killed with... while Taka's death...
See? So it's obvious Taka came...
So,
regarding... I wonder if he... or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the justice hammers.
It's true that Hifumi, while Taka's death...
See? So it's obvious Taka came... So, I wonder if... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were killed in. Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
The idea
because of the numbering of the justice hammers.
It's true that Hifumi was killed while Taka's death...
See? So it's obvious Taka came... So, I wonder if he... Or perhaps it was... We already know what order they were... Taka came last.
What makes you say that?
Because of the numbering of the justice hammers.
There we go.
No, that's wrong.
I guess that's right.
Hold on. There's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers.
I've been saying since the beginning. You gotta release 4 pigs into the Target store and number them 1, 2, and 5.
If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions.
Okay.
So you're saying the culprit wanted us to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality, Taka was killed before Hifumi? Okay then, let's see the proof.
I believe the proof Taka was killed before Hifumi. The watch.
No.
Hangman's Gambit. Wristwatch.
I can't do no damage.
Now I understand.
Did you see that?
I've got it. Taka's wristwatch.
How dare you?
See? Look. It broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock.
It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer. Because as of last night...
It was working at 10 o'clock.
So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have been attacked around 6 this morning.
Unless that's just a ploy to make us think that he was killed at 6.
And that would be his official time of death.
But if that's true, then he was killed well before Hifumi.
And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7.
Unless...
That's right. Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place.
That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made the wrong assumption about the order of events, all because of those justice hammers.
I mean, you guys might.
That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make that wrong assumption.
Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for his murder go out the window. Because when he was killed, we hadn't met up in the dining hall yet.
Which means it was Hina.
That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death.
That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe.
Nah, really?
Yeah. Huh?
What was that? It came from downstairs. It must have been. We already flashed back.
When we heard Hifumi screaming, we were all together. Except for Hiro and Kyoko. Then we all ran down to the nurse's office, and that's where we found his body.
That's totally true. We're all in the clear.
Except for you. You were in a closet somewhere.
Oh, I know! They must have recorded him screaming on a tape or something, then played it later on!
If that's true, where's the tape?
I don't know.
Don't just go making stuff up.
Anyway, we all have rock-solid alibis for when we heard Hifumi scream. Since all of us were there together, clearly none of us could have killed him.
And it does not stop there. There was also the moment when we discovered his body had disappeared. When his body vanished from the nurse's office, Hina and I were in the bathroom together, while everyone else was in the equipment room, correct? And then there's the disappearance of Taka's body from the equipment room. At that time, we were all gathered together in the nurse's office because of Hifumi going missing.
Well, don't forget, I was passed out in the equipment room the whole time.
Did you move the fucking bodies? You moved the fucking bodies.
Wait, then what if Genocide Jill did it? She could have dragged Taka's body out of there right then!
Even if she could pull that off, there's no way she could have done the same with Hifumi's body. Because, as we just established, she was passed out in the equipment room when his body disappeared.
Besides, I didn't do either of them anyway.
In other words, it is impossible that any of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of their bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things.
I like how she pronounces Kyoko's name. Kyoko.
Hiro couldn't have done it because he was in the suit, and we already established that fucking whoever was in the suit couldn't have moved Taka. Hiro might have been able to move Hifume,
But
guess.
again, he'd still have to.
But like that would be
bend.
really fucking hard because he would have to 1, pick him up, and 2, move him up 3 flights of stairs.
I don't think he was dead.
So what now, Kyoko?
For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved.
Well, I have no fucking clue. So.
That's true. We searched everywhere,
his glasses
but we
were
couldn't
cleaned
figure
off,
out
so
how
he
to
was
explain
still
his body
alive. He'd have to
disappearing.
Clean off his own glasses to move.
Yeah.
And according to what Celeste said,
Minute or two though.
He was able to move Hifume's body, and that's
It seems
his
so.
body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the first floor up to the 3rd in that short amount of time?
If it was Hifume that got up and moved himself, though, why would he not just go back to his own room where he's
Oh
safe?
man, yeah! There's no way! It'd be impossible!
I don't know.
Well, what if I told you there was a way to make the impossible possible?
What if there was an elevator?
What? How? If the dead body were to move itself.
What a fucking twist!
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another... ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifume was still alive.
Is he really possible? Yeah, it's probably gonna get the glasses.
Yeah.
Are you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
I think not.
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a
I
doubt.
think you need to alter it.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found. And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Are you saying that when we first found there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with Hifumi's dead body had been found.
no, that's wrong. Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Whoever killed him was really fucking lucky.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's what you're saying right now. They found Taka's first.
Uh-huh.
No, they found them both at the same time.
They found them at the exact same fucking time.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if 2 bodies had been found, there really should have been 2 announcements.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
We heard another one after somebody died.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty.
Huh?
He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Yeah. The second time was when...
When both bodies were discovered.
No, I think it's after... No.
Oh, wait. You're right.
Okay.
So...
This was when the announcement was made.
Yeah.
When the bodies were discovered.
Or is it after Hifumi came back to life? Because
No.
It
Because he wasn't dead. And
Yeah.
he wanted to make an announcement that a dead body had been found.
No, but like, listen though. When they were discovered, Hifumi was still alive for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And then died.
So, as established, why would it doesn't get played twice for the same person? So why would it play then? You are correct. It did play after we found them both, but it would have already played for Taka, so
it would have already played if when they discovered the second body.
I'm just gonna look at...
It only went off after he came back to life.
I'm just gonna look at the last stream we did, because I remember that.
Yeah, when he came up and he said his last few words.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at it real quick.
Why do I keep finding pieces of chair?
Because it keeps breaking. Okay, I found where Hifumi is back to life. For Celeste attack, someone was... It was right after we opened the fucking door.
So it is when both bodies were discovered.
Yeah, like, look at that shit.
I saw.
Well, there they are.
Right there.
The mallets, yeah.
Mallets. Somebody spray painted them?
Smell of blood made me gag.
Well, not only that, the cart could have used to carry him.
Yeah, potentially. You okay, man?
I don't think I do this when I'm tired and energetic at the same time.
Okay.
I do. How can they cart him up the stairs though?
Yep. So it was right after...
I got it!
Okay.
We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the 2 bodies.
Body discovered under a certain amount of time which may use...
Yeah.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the 2 dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. there's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
This whole thing is pointless.
Well, here's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
That's it.
Then, was he really still alive?
Of course not. It is impossible.
This is ridiculous. Well, here's one. The first time we found him, and then his body disappeared.
And the next time we saw it was in...
But when you compare his body before...
Other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
Wham!
No, that's wrong!
Shut the fuck up!
Killer.
He just shoots with an actual gun. Actually,
In
you're
fact,
wrong.
there was one clear
you're
difference
wrong.
between Hifumi and the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
So if Celeste was the killer, do you think Celeste, not knowing the rule about how you can only kill 2 people... Or wait, no, we were told that last trial, right?
Yeah, we were told that
okay,
last trial.
never mind. I was gonna say, do you think she was gonna wait till he knows in the bathroom, then go back and finish the job? Or do you think she, like... Anyway. We don't know if it was
When we
Celeste or
found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
What was it? I can't fucking remember.
No, it was certainly some weed trash.
I got it!
Weed trash!
It was a glasses
definitely
cleaning
wasn't the
cloth
glasses
featuring a
cleaner.
certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right?
But it's my digital camera now.
And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's,
Celeste,
of course.
The character was... Princess Piggles. From Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
Excellent.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
All 3 of us.
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
A few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead, what was with all that blood? Was it
Blood
paint
packs
or
in the fridge.
something?
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere. But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done. God, what an idiot!
Okay, so
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
Hifume. Taka himself.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be.
It can't be Taka because he was dead. Sakura.
Sakura definitely.
I got it! It could only have been Hifumi.
He's the only one unaccounted for.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked? Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository.
Interesting.
But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository.
So did Hifumi kill Taka?
So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
Oh.
But
It's possible
that
Hifumi
means
killed
he
Taka
took
and
part in the
then Taka
murders.
killed him.
No, but think about, because Yasuhiro was in the costume, and he, Celeste got the picture. So what does that mean?
That it was staged.
Yeah. But he had health.
I just can't believe it.
No, it was Yasuhiro.
He was knocked out. They could have positioned his body.
Possibly.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
Look at that smug fucking grin. She's like, haha, I'm the genius.
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Paper.
I got it!
I got it, guys!
You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Man?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, we're having a lot of emphasis on his pants right
Okay,
now.
well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
Don't mind the sweat.
Ah! That's the note I was telling you about! The one that told me where to go! Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been... I got it!
Hifume's pants.
It could
That's
not
right!
have been his pants.
Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear,
God damn it.
TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Seriously. Can't really get... Oh, are we gonna...
We're gonna have to show the other Rick piece in his hand, gripped in his hand.
I think you have to change it.
Probably.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
Oh, the broken
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
Yeah.
No, that's wrong!
I think
Bam!
that was sort of a guess, I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, it was the last one in the
No,
sequence, so
there
I figured
absolutely
that was correct.
is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
What you talking about,
The
Big
note
Mac?
said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that... No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they
Am I
found a
noticing
way out.
stars?
Oh. What?
Am I noticing stars and moons on the back to kind of symbolize that he's his thing?
What do you mean?
In the background. Behind people.
Yeah, I know.
It's just part of the background, guys.
No, but is that like the hint of like who's being accused?
No, it's just like the way the room's designed. Like it's an octangular room, so that's just part of the room. Like everyone's in the same space, so I know people aren't moving around.
No, I'm saying we're noticing that the room is different.
Yes.
So does each room have a specific theme based on who we believe to be the culprit?
Maybe. I haven't really noticed anything like that in the previous rooms, but we'll keep an eye out. So, okay. Fucking lost my train of thought. Okay, so then... Alright, so Hifumo is the killer then. Hifume lured Taka into the equipment room, killed him, and then tried to lure Yasuhiro into the rec room, knocked him out.
No, it had to be Hiro first.
Knocked him out, put him in the costume, posed with him. Oh, but he can't. The camera doesn't have a timer on it. So
let's keep going.
No. Okay, I think I get it. So he purposefully made a scene. He screamed out. Celeste came along. He attacked Celeste, knocked her out, hid Taka's body, or hid Yasuhiro in the pool, and then pretended to be knocked out
And attacked.
Yeah, because he hid in the library. He said he had been attacked by the robot guy. Went down to the nurse's office, pretending to be killed there, and then went back up to Taka to move him to the rec room, and then someone found him and killed him there.
Or someone was waiting.
Someone was waiting, yeah.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
Hifumi wanted the fucking money.
Huh? He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Torn fucking note.
I got it! When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup. They're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Bum, bum, bum!
Sorry, no.
No, he's dead.
I'm dead.
When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
That's a name.
Who are you calling a walrus?
Wow.
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file,
Not as stupid as he looks.
the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it.
There was that one hammer that had been washed off.
But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Oh shit. Damn, son.
Hell yeah,
I've seen
it's
another
packed in
murder
there
committed
good
right in
and
front of me
tight.
today.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
One.
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then,
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi? What was used to kill Hifumi?
Is it really this one?
Was it Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its
Oh
appearance!
my god!
Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Hold on, we gotta visit this site.
Okay, yeah. Murdergear.com.
Please let it be something related to the game. Is it an actual site?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Is that exactly what she said?
No, okay.
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice Hammers!
No, it's not.
And, that's about it.
That's about it.
What was used?
Was it Justice Hammer?
Maybe Justice...
Well, there's one. How was the culprit? How did nobody...
Sounds like a Justice Hammer! Check out murdergear.com/hammer...
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be one of the Justice... And...
No, that's wrong!
Suck it.
No,
Fuck off,
it's
hero.
not.
Yeah, that's sad.
No, he was wrong.
The murder weapon wasn't a Justice Hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Don't you fucking... I'm trying to help you.
Specifically, a hammer from the repository.
You all
The
fucking
killer could
forget?
have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, All the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Sayaka's hammer.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off.
What?
Is it starting
Yeah.
to go crazy?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, let's go. Let's jam. You got it. I believe in you.
I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones,
Medium-sized ones.
and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the Justice hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him.
Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about
but
this,
he can
did we
still
not?
pretend to be dead.
Kill them together. They're at the first spot.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have been laid, even if more than one person, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate, and assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained.
But that only really applies if there's one. In this case, however, there were two murders.
Based on the rules that have even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out the act can, assuming the rule holds true. It is simply impossible.
No, that's wrong!
I'm pretty sure it is.
Since there were two murders, it's at
The testimony contradicts the evidence. No. Fuck.
least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in the scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies, By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning.
Still,
their choice of accomplice seems odd.
It's gotta be Celeste.
This game isn't exactly hard figuring out who did the murders. It's trying to figure out how it happened. Kyoto really is amazing. Anyway, she's almost too amazing. Oh my god, I love her.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved. But then, who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
Try to remember back. We had murdered him individually. The way this case is unfolded, when you consider all that, only one person seems to fit.
Me.
Go. Mondo. Eoi. Yasuhiro. Chihiro. Nakia. Celeste. Genocide Jill. Oh, Toko hasn't been here this whole time. I just realized.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
Ah, so I'm the suspicious individual now, am
Not
I?
denying it.
I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
To be fair, like Byakuya speaks up, to be fair, everyone that Makoto is accused ended up being the murderer.
Except for me. You accused him at the beginning of the trial.
This is the second trial, yeah.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi.
He was probably very, very easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
For what you being.
A bitch.
The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him,
So the perfect alibi.
that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot!
I like how your accent completely dropped during that.
Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It
being a
is.
bitch to him.
Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
Makoto, point out the evidence. Fuck!
Why do they only have in common?
The screaming.
Encountering a suspicious
yeah.
individual.
I got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
Did I get it wrong?
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed
you,
individual.
man.
He does not like us.
If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
Yeah, that's kind of the point.
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said?
Yeah.
We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the
Celeste is
physics
like,
lab
"What the
up on the
fuck?"
third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
What's wrong? Rather intense scream. Strange costume man ran off as soon as I screamed.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
Came from downstairs.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Very fair. I mean, you were all on board for it, though.
It was the heat of the moment.
He's like, yeah, I want to fucking hunt down this murderer.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together...
Byakuya, I realize this now. Byakuya's like light in Death Note, but like without him being Kira. Like he's ruthless and he's really fucking good at investigating. The only real difference is that he hasn't killed anyone. Like he's not secretly Kira.
All those chance events suddenly become connected.
I'm going to fuck off, I guess.
And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on.
That was it?
That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I imagine that Hifumi would be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
Maybe I'm just don't want to fucking touch my body, okay?
I don't believe it! Everything! The whole thing was one big act!
Man, Hina, I just... Honey, you're so unused to this. Like, you gotta understand. Read the room.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed.
Did you fucking call me ugly?
Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
I mean, based on what you said, it makes it seem like I made a bunch of fucking mistakes.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing.
The worst part about this game, they noticed one distinct detail that no normal person would notice.
I don't think that's fair.
What are you talking about?
You could reasonably, with as many people.
No, I noticed that when Kyoko was talking to Mondo, when he said how he refers to women as chicks and males as dudes, and the one time he called Chihiro a dude, that's what threw her off.
To be fair, we had not picked up on that. That is a very distinct thing that's in speech. So, I mean, it probably was a lot more noticeable. We didn't catch up on it because we didn't get hearing it. We haven't heard everything that they're going to say.
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the four of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
Fuck up, hero. We're saving your life.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Slow's comment doesn't make sense, but what is he alluding to?
Oh, okay. I guess we'll fucking figure it out.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it, what was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Fuck.
Shoot!
All I said was, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are going to die. And that is all.
And that's all it takes.
What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Us.
All I said, they must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be. We are all going to die. We are going to die. Just like those.
No, that's wrong.
Got that back. I'm about to
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died.
To be fair, I thought she was referring to everyone that died up to this point.
When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her
I'm
until
surprised she even
after
said
we
it
were all out
correctly.
in the
She
hall.
could have said,
Yeah.
just like they died.
Yeah.
So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead
Kyoko
too.
was gone. Baby. That seems oddly specific, but...
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
She's gonna accuse Kyoko.
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on. And then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist?
Simple. Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
You were supposed to be S tier.
I think Celeste is still probably S tier.
I think it's Hifumi is dragging the body forward and making it look like it's dragging him away.
Yeah.
Also, he has his hands on the
Yeah.
arm.
I got it! It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility.
But you're fucking wrong.
The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
So let's think she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible?
Oh boy. Okay, so we got the costume, you have to get a message. Fuck
You
me.
dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Like that. Have the arms bend like that. Just like in the picture.
It can't bend at the waist.
He can't because he's significantly taller.
They would see their feet or bend at the waist. Oh, so it would be the costume.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
Monokuma, shut the fuck up.
Who? I mean,
The purple thing.
Dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
No, that's wrong!
No, that's wrong!
Wrong, bitch.
No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that.
Yep.
Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
Oh, thanks. No, thank you.
Can't bend at the waist. Not an oversight.
That's
it's
right.
an intentional design flaw.
I'm not so sure that was...
What'd she say?
They probably made a mistake when they made it so it couldn't bend at the waist.
was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Why is it spinning? This is very creepy.
It's like the best scene from Black Panther.
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Oh boy!
She has gone...
She's gone full American.
Celeste? Clearly! You want to cram me into your little guilty box? Well, there's one little problem.
Is she fucking Southern? Does she have a fucking Texan accent?
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you?
So her accent is completely fake.
Her name?
What? What do you mean?
Remember,
We
there's
don't
a chance
know.
that could be a fake name.
Yeah, we don't know her real name.
But I mean, he would have just said Celeste.
But he remembered something. He said it's all clear now.
Let's see where this goes.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro. In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Wait! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
He did say Yasuhiro. But are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
Their surnames. The last names,
Yeah.
I got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Mr. Yankee.
Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just incidental. By chance, his first name. Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No. There's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
Yeah, they're gonna check her ebook.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. There's one person it could apply to, and that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
Oh my god.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you?
Hero's like, oh.
Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Fine! Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
So I still won't give up, so that decided to make her accept it.
One more. Use your fucking e-handbook. Ah!
Hifumi was trying to tell us
What was Yasuhiro's message again? Oh yeah, it was
something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name...
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name... Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me, that's the only truth there is! Moron!
Hifumi was... He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person...
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told...
How many times do I... My name... Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me...
There we go.
No, that's wrong! That's it! The handbook!
What?
Nani?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
Handbook's actually vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. You start up, it'll display your name. Always make sure to have the right one. Now, this is not your everyday uncle.
Has a lot of uses.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything.
Yeah.
That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
You know, I did think it was weird how we'd gotten so far into Celeste's, like, personal line that she hadn't told us yet. I knew that she had one more scene that I guess we're not gonna get now. But, like, I thought that was interesting how we didn't get her name yet.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because... Until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it.
Oh, God.
Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end.
You gonna look it up?
I'm gonna look it up.
Closing. Why did they... That's such a dumb face to put.
Hold on, let me find the bookmarks. We're gonna work our way through it, and then we'll figure out if I get it.
Okay.
Table of contents. Chapter 4, or Chapter 3 trial.
You get it?
Alright, so... Yes, I get it.
I don't.
He said, now what has an enormous penis and hangs up? What? And he hangs up. Okay.
Oh boy, we have to figure out where the fucking time is. Oh.
I think it's that one.
Okay, so they make a deal. So... Oh my god. Oh, no, this is the time. So this is 1 in the morning. At 6. So this is when Hero comes to meet them. He gets jumped.
No, Hero meets him at 1.
Yes.
And then he gets...
Yeah, that's at 1 o'clock.
Okay.
So then he jumps behind him.
Gets knocked out.
Just his hammer... No. Why is that even here?
I think he confuses.
Okay. You have to...
Maybe that one?
We'll come back to that one. So they dress him up in the suit. Now
Get the camera.
Get the camera. Okay. And Taka...
It's supposed to show up at 6.
6.
Yeah.
Taka hits him with Justice Hammer at her 4.
Or to throw everyone off.
Okay. He kills Taka, and then...
Not
wraps
that.
him up.
No, not yet.
No, that's later.
That's later.
We got it. He drops Justice Hammer 4. Not that one, but 4.
Yeah.
Because that empty one is blank one that kills him.
Yeah, it shows.
Okay, then we see him there. That's Justice Hammer 2. Nurse's office spins around, and Justice Hammer 3. We see dead. Then, when nobody's around, he wraps him up, takes him out.
And I think that's the one with the tarp. That one.
Around, puts him back in there. He's like, yeah, I did it. And then, back's turned, killed, and leaned it off.
I think that hammer's the only one. Alright, check it out now.
Yeah, that's not a Justice Hammer, so... Yeah. We're still missing one. That one. We need to figure out...
that backpack.
The backpack. He has it in his backpack.
You see the lining? There's like a little white thing on the corner. See it?
Oh, that's it.
Look it up.
Okay.
No, maybe not because it's right there in that picture.
How do I fucking reveal the spoilers?
Did you get the press on the outlining?
Oh boy.
That's real dumb. Hang on.
I specifically have it on I have Strategy Wiki because they have a spoiler-free version, but don't look it up. I got it.
Okay.
I'll just come over here. It's hot.
Okay, I'll wait.
Better.
Can you turn on the AC at least?
No, I'm kidding.
About the AC or it being
No,
hot?
are you actually hot?
Yeah, look, I'm fine for now.
Take
I
off
guess.
your jacket.
No, it brings out the.
It makes you fucking hot.
Yeah, that's the point.
You want to sweat? Are you trying to diet or something and lose like all your water weight? Because that's not healthy.
I feel like I think we're getting a little out of hand here.
Trigger. Happy. Havoc. Okay. Oh, why does it look like this? Okay. Class trial. Oh my god, okay, so that's dumb.
What?
You have to hold your arrow over it. It just doesn't translate. Okay, so the first one is what? Closing argument. Oh, okay. So it just has it.
So we arrive at that.
So that one's good. The clock.
Oh no, yeah, we had to switch on that backpack with the one of Yasukiro.
That makes sense. Okay. That one's the camera.
I think the backpack's the one to throw us off.
Yeah. The clock.
So I believe if you go back to the last page.
Yeah, I saw the backpack there too.
Justice Hammer 4 is dropped. The next one, Justice Hammer 2 lays on the floor. Justice Hammer 3 is covered in blood. Fume skips that one. Pushes the dolly, and the wooden hammer is covered. Okay.
Here's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
First try.
Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was...
Hifume! Why did you choose that face for him?
With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes.
And how he's touching her.
Did he just cream himself?
Probably.
First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning.
I'm making myself good.
Can you make me something, please?
That someone they met with was Hiro.
Please? Hey, you get back over here, man! Shikuquaza, get back over here!
I said, we're making serious. I don't know. I already ate.
Yeah, I ate earlier.
Well, too bad.
Now it's later.
The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him,
Everyone is
they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims, to solidify Robo Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1, and the Robo Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2, and an injured Hifumi, to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
Whoa. Why is
Ooh. Ooh.
Why is it doing this? This is so dumb.
Celeste!
That's a portrait.
Sorry, you lose.
Bam! Blade.
I lost? I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words?
It was a gamble.
They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taiko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taiko?
So, you finally accepted it.
You could have just fucking kept on going with your lie. Everybody still has to vote on it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Okay.
Alright. Well, that's it, I guess. Times 3? Oh.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin.
What's a mistrial?
Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
You know, I've decided something. How about we don't kill anybody this time around, just for funsies?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote, okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And when the votes are tallied, Who will become the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be?
What the fuck, guys?
We all vote for Hifumi.
Even though he's
I mean,
already
that
dead.
would be right. Hifumi was the blackened.
For a very small amount of time.
What? It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The blackened this time, the true killer who devised the total stinking scheme was... Ta-da! Celestial Lumberg, or more precisely, Teiko Yasuhiro.
Honestly.
Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifume's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So you really did approach Hifume with this plan. How did you get him to agree? I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder.
Sure, she will in her specialty. Lying.
My specialty. Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then...
And you use... You know. I knew you'd figure it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifume to act as my accomplice.
Indeed.
I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Hifume and Taka were both super into.
Well, didn't we already fucking,
Yeah, they blurted it out at one point.
Yeah, we already blurted it out.
Talking about alter ego?
Say what?
Wait, what are you talking about?
What are you guys talking about?
What you got your schemes?
Just a second.
Don't interrupt.
No,
shut the fuck up, Bear. We're in the middle of a very important conversation here.
I'm totally out of the loop as usual. How sad.
I'm glad that Celeste is like, yeah, I'm okay with you guys having this thing, even though it doesn't benefit me at all.
In other words,
that just goes to show that Leon's the only one that's a killer that was not mature about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Even though that, I guess Hifume probably assumed that he'd get one, the money, and two, Celeste. So you're the one that stole it?
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
You used to drag Hifume into the plan you'd come up with. Last night, if we had our meeting about how it disappeared, I paid Hifume a little visit.
What are you doing here?
Oh god, we gotta see his room.
Actually...
I was hoping I could talk to you alone. It's about what was stolen. I know who did.
What? Are you okay with this?
It was Taka. He stole it.
What?
So then...
I have proof. Would you like to see it?
As it turned out, I
take it you know what Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I deleted the picture as soon as I had shown it to him.
Damnation!
So it was him!
How'd you get into Taka's room?
How did he do it? She was supposed to yell if the other of us got close to her.
I assume he assumed she's a girl and he's a boy. She just kind of went in.
Yeah, but he'd still see her taking the pictures.
Unless she fucked him to sleep.
Say what?
As for me...
He threatened me.
He did?
As for me...
It's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
He took pictures. He said if I do not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. I had no choice.
Damnation!
Yeah, I knew he'd gone a little crazy, but...
Say what?
I imagine he would go that far.
Protecting my big, strong Hifume. It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable
We
it
don't
was.
have to do the anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Something I've never said before in my life.
Completely unforgivable!
I'm going to fucking kill him!
Most unfortunate.
Please, if you go now, you'll be playing right into his hands.
Actually...
Taka is planning to use her to escape. And he has made you his target.
What?
Escape, you don't mean...
Taka's trying to kill you.
Indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself.
This completely unforgivable!
Bastard!
Honestly.
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts?
Absolutely not. How could I? She
I swear I will save her!
Actually...
Then would you like to join with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. I have devised a way to reclaim what he has stolen and escape this dreadful school. And with that, it is complete.
What are you talking about?
Nothing. Fume agreed without a second thought. The effect that item had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even though love as twisted as that, can still drive people mad, it would seem.
You disgust me.
I see.
I have no other questions for you. What? I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
Indeed.
It was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him was to make something to hide the face and general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But...
So you decided to make me the suspect.
No one would because you're stupid.
Huh?
That's it?
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much
see.
it. In that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents, though.
I feel like I'm crying.
Well...
But when you were explaining your plan to Hifume, how did you explain the part about him playing dead?
She asked it. What was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you had actually let him live?
Are you okay with it?
After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once everyone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded, he was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. I really believe it. Well, of course, that wasn't all there was to it. As I explained to Fumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifume would have an alibi, so nobody could doubt him. I told him that, and he believed it.
She's very straightforward. Stereotypical.
I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifume ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
So in the end...
So you had planned to kill him all along?
I mean, pretty much. There would have been no point to my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well...
That is a non-issue. I did everything in my power to win.
Don't be mean!
Nice on Byakuya!
I wonder about that.
No, he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike.
Why?
What made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Was it really just for the money? I'm talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered. That is a lot of money, it's true. But it's not like all there is to it. From the moment our new life here began, my only thought has been escape. Oh, fucking, you wouldn't have... You fooled me! Made me think...
But all along you've been saying how we have to accept living here.
You little bitch!
Obviously that was a lie.
Yeah!
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hate it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
You little
I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. You want to know why, huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly. When I was hanging out with Miyagi. Aww.
Oh. There was no way I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for me...
And it was all for that dream.
And what's the dream of yours?
Isn't it wonderful?
Live in a European castle.
A castle?
That's really all it was. Nice. Handsome to men all over the world to serve as my butlers/bodyguards.
I like this picture.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, she doesn't have her hairpins in, so they are fake. I was wondering about that.
Wow.
It could also be.
I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Oh my god.
She has a vampire fetish.
Oh my god. Once I obtained that, I have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life was my only dream, my only goal. That is what life is all about. You could have made this your castle, though. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but...
There is nothing to be done.
My dream has been scattered to the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream till the very end, so why would I?
Just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it?
Oh!
Are you expecting me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor.
I
think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing.
Do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is this?
That's what we should be saying. And plus, how can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. I'm absolutely fucking terrified.
I am scared shitless right now.
It's not just other people. I can fool even my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious.
And that's why you're not scared?
Yes, indeed.
I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice...
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette. That seems a very similar situation that you're in right now.
What?
Hey!
You'll just get executed again. I mean, if you have a choice in the matter, then...
Who's Marie Antoinette?
She got killed by...
She lived in a fucking castle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And then got beheaded.
Oh. And when she claimed she could fool her own feelings. That statement itself must have been her final line. Now we fake smiles what betrayed her.
Thrills, chills, kills!
All done? Okay, let's get rolling. The blackened disturbed the peace and must pay the price.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment.
For her.
For her, the ultimate gambler.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
I'll wait till you get back.
I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this.
What?
Ah!
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way.
She hid it in a different locker?
Oh my god.
Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then... Take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
I'll see you in hell, assholes.
She doesn't believe in hell. She believes in reincarnation.
No.
Time for the punishment! I have one more thing to say. This is not my real hair. Or my real eye color.
Oh, my real body. I am a robot.
I am a robot.
I'm like Chihiro. I am a dude.
I'm a dude.
What the fuck is this? The burning of the
Versailles Witch. Oh my. It doesn't really fit her character, but I guess.
It's what she's always wanted.
Well, no, she didn't want to be a bit. She didn't. Wow. She didn't want to be a witch, though. She wanted to live in a castle, which is
surrounded by vampire butler bodyguards.
No, she wanted to reincarnate as Marie Antoinette.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
This is Jeanne d'Arc. This is how Jeanne d'Arc died.
Yeah.
Completely different fucking point in history. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
What the?
Somebody call the fire department! She's really fucking hot! Oh my god!
What the fuck?
Oh, this is way faster. She gets fucking run over by a fire truck. Oh,
what the fuck?
I guess if you could take it, she really lost a bad gamble. It wasn't even the fire that killed her. It was the fire truck that was supposed to save her.
That's called irony.
Yeah, but I don't think that's a gamble. That's just really fucking unlucky.
It's over. Oh, the third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friends, so I can't pity her, but...
You can't pity her, but you'll pity the fucking other ones.
But she was so hot. I can't deny that. At one point, I consider her a friend, too. And for him to just come along and... just awful. Someone couldn't cut free of the regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die.
Extreme!
You guys are still young. You need to place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna do?
And here I thought you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation.
Let me out of here!
I don't care about hope. I'll throw it in the trash if you just let me out of here.
Too bad.
You are all the embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. It's my destiny to knock you down one by one. It's sad, yes it is, but that's reality. Just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you know responsibility. How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us, what?
How strange.
Fucking read.
God, I am so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So anyway, Kyoko, did I see you get some kind of key type object from Celeste?
Yep, it was a key type object. A key.
Hey!
So, what's the deal with that?
Fuck you.
It holds
What?
the vibrators.
It holds the vibrators. Awesome.
What's
So
the
then-
matter?
I'll answer your question if you answer mine.
You.
What did you do? To me.
Ooh.
What?
Ooh, ooh.
Hey.
What did you do to my body?
Ooh. How exciting.
What do you mean? What did I
You fucking Catholic
do?
priest?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it.
What's that in now?
That's when it's something to Kyoko's
body.
What does that mean?
I mean, you remember when we fucking talked to Kyoko? She had like no idea what her backstory was. She was like, I think my dad, I think, was a secret agent?
Hello.
Maybe?
Okay, things are getting kind of awkward. I think it's about time I got out of here.
Well?
Meanwhile, you guys can go on enjoying your school life.
So he took her memories?
If you get a moment,
I don't think
give me a
that's
shout. Not gonna do anything about it, of course.
See ya later!
Bye-bye, bitches.
By the way, probably turn down the voice more, 'cause it's, yeah, I turned it up pretty loud. This stuff is stupid though. Alright.